Good afternoon, everyone, from the platform of ICSI, headed by Dr. Gulshan Sharma. And it's my pleasure to welcome you all who have joined in the YouTube link of GS Motivator from all across the globe as well as India. It has been my pleasure to do this session since February 2021. Every Sunday, same time, I've been meeting lots of people, trying to share as an educator that what we together could do to empower the youth with the skills and empower the teachers for empowering education so that the generation next learners who are in the classrooms of today, they could be prepared for global competence. That is the main fundamental. That is what NEP 2020 also talks about. That is what is the current scenario change that has happened because of the lockdown of pandemic also since last year, because teachers have gone to uses of technology from traditional tech-enabled classrooms. They switched over to these online platforms, and over a period of 1 year, I'm sure technology has emerged as a indispensable tool to maintain the learning continuity. So once again, a very warm welcome to the speakers of today, Ms. Amrita Rajpal, who will be sharing her thoughts about early childhood education, where NEP 2020 talks about foundational literacy and numeracy skills. And we have Mr. Sachin Dhakate from Wisemindz Private Ventures Limited, who will be talking about how the education could be empowered in different ways. However, I would like to begin with some introduction about ICSI and what this platform is doing and how Dr. Gulshan Sharma is doing continuously the sessions right from morning till evening and connecting the people from all across the globe to bring in whatever they can do for the well-being of a human being. I'm talking the word as an individual human being because it includes everyone, children, women, men, the areas where we really find lots of opportunities which are missing. So how do we really bridge those gaps also? How do we reach the remotest possible child, remotest possible human being to help out? That is what is the target of ICSI. So I will be sharing my screen to show you certain work platform this platform has been doing. ICSI, International Chamber for Service and Industry. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a channel where it is a link between, as you can see on the slide, India and over 31 million overseas Indians, and how everyone is contributing to making education relevant right from Monday to Sunday and throughout the day. If you ever visit the GS Motivator YouTube link, you will find that it is a work in continuation. How ICSI is focusing with all its efforts on global skills and competencies, whether you talk about soft skills or life management skills or entrepreneurship skills, or even how to earn anything from social media expertise. They are trying to empower youth and every individual to earn a living for themselves, right? So it's a pleasure to be on this platform. As you can see on this slide, there's everything related to education, to well-being of a human being, to the nature, to the climate, to the tourism, which make actually life possible and flourishing and nurturing everyone around. Whether you talk of water conservation, whether you talk of climate conservation, whether you talk of women and child empowerment, whether you talk about Vedic culture, whether you talk of Ayurveda for wellness, everything happens on this platform. So it's hats off to Dr. Gulshan Sharma for heading all these sessions all throughout the day. Therefore, ICSE becomes a platform where we all come together to make this education relevant. It's a global confluence of educators, motivators, technocrats, wellness experts, corporate, government administrators, and decision makers. So sharing what you are doing today, both the speakers, it is for you that if you are sharing something that is relevant and works out, probably you have an opportunity to connect with the people in Northeast area too. So it's warm welcome once again to Mr. Sachin Dhakate, the CEO and co-founder of Wisemindz Ventures Private Limited, Ms. Amrita Rajpal, founder Learn Grow, and it has been my pleasure to come and talk to both the speakers of the today, earlier also on other times, and it's a pleasure to invite you both on this platform, and I'm sure the people today are going to have lots of takeaways from this session. And followed by this session in the evening will be another session on post-pandemic hospitality industry outlook at 8 p.m. So if you're interested, do log in. How Dr. Gulshan Sharma handles every aspect, that is a wonderful, amazing quality, instinct that he has got to go on. Next day morning, we have a philosophy of Advaita Vedanta by Professor Tatendra Dhiman and Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan. So do log in tomorrow. And with this, I'll stop sharing once again. A very, very warm welcome to both the speakers of the today. And I'm sure we're going to have lots of learning. I'll begin with intro of Mr. Sachin Dakate. Let me just close my slide. Sachin Dhakate, co-founder of Wisemindz Ventures Private Limited. He has authored books on mathematical computation and Vedic mathematics. His company says that it's an alternate pedagogical activity-based education which offers the opportunities of Vedic maths, computational skills, STEM zone activities. They have even advanced skill programs, financial aptitude, fund finance, business acumen, entrepreneurship skills, and communication building. Lot of things are being done by this organization. And Sachin Dakate comes with a huge experience of 20 years in the corporate sector, but all involved in education. Therefore, I'm sure this is an opportunity for us to listen to him and what his company offers, special focus on Northeast Education India. It's over to you, Sachin Dhakate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll share my screen and we'll give a small presentation. Yes. Is the screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, everything is fine, sir.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity today. Wisemindz started in 2017, and we have been doing a lot of activity-based learning programs for schools across India and individual students in UAE, UK, and US as well. And with the pandemic since last year, we went direct to parents as well, and that's how we got insight and the students from UAE, UK, and US as well. So we started catering to those students. But moreover, when we started this journey, we actually understood that what is the pain points of the school, what are the pain points of the parents, and the students, because these are the main stakeholders, and the biggest stakeholder of this entire chain is the teachers. So how we can empower as a company, as a startup, how we empowered the teachers, and how then those particular things led to good learning habits in the students. And that's where our synergy started building up with the schools. Coming from the Indian Institute of Management background, so I did my management from IIM Lucknow 2001 batch, and then worked with various corporates, was with Times of India, then majorly focused. My last assignment before starting this company was into Next Education as a president, and that's where we got travel to across India, talk to students, talk to people, and that's where we got. So what we understood is that there is a limited exposure to experiential learning in students. Whatever students are going to learn today, the jobs or the fundamentals are not going to be there. 65% of the existing jobs today will not be existent when they grow up. So how do we develop their skills? And that's precisely where we started focusing, where majority of the schools don't focus on the life skills uh, training, and through technology, through various mediums of technology and various solutions that we have, that is where we start developing a life skill activity based learning for the students. So when we talk about our solution, we primarily understand that we should expose the child from an early age, maybe from pre-primary level to first grade itself, from on an integrated interdisciplinary platform. The content has to be age appropriate. Why it has to be age appropriate? Because see, we when we study body parts, for an example, we study body parts right from nursery. Then there is body parts in first to fourth. Then, as and when you go to the higher classes, you start talking about internal organs. Then you talk about intestine. You talk about endocrine system, blood flow, heart, and then you go deeper into it, and it never ends. You go up to doctorate, and you have molecules, you have cells, and that's how the body part is. But the kind of right exposure at the right age is very, very important. And that's precisely what we have tried to do through our various programs. So when we talk about our programs, we have computational skills primarily. When we talk about the way we teach abacus or Vedic maths, I have been, as a hobby, I am teaching Vedic maths since last 22 years. And when we started this company, then we actually wrote this book for school students, understanding how the Vedic maths concepts can be utilized in the regular curriculum. Because there is a myth that when the student starts performing faster calculation, they try to forget the uh, formulas, or they try to forget the steps, which precisely is the getting the marks in the exam. But that's where we try to bust that myth, and then we say that it is a age-wise, teacher-led, and self-learning module. When we talk about technology involvement, level-wise advancement and assessments, we talk about how do we develop a higher order visual learning through abacus. Then what do we do in the Vedic maths concepts? When a child starts doing a two-digit table and a three-digit table without mugging up that concept, that's precisely where the child starts thinking of newer and newer ways. The way we intertwine these learnings of conceptual mathematics, the regular mathematics, into interdisciplinary learning. When we talk about market, we talk about animals, we talk about various things around us, and try to relate that to the mathematics. That's where the thinking capabilities we try to improve on the students. When we talk about the STEM zone, we precisely talk about building coding and robotics lab with the hands-on learning kit. So precisely these kits are there in the school, which is a teacher-led online and offline. During when the schools are doing online programs, we have a dedicated teacher support for doing these STEM programs online as well. And precisely when the schools were running offline, basically the regular school timings, at that time, our teacher used to be stationed permanently. The full-time teacher is to be there in the school premise, so that the students, the teachers can approach the teacher at any moment. And when we talk about the application-driven programming, we talk about how the students right from grade 3 onwards can start coding robots, can give the insight into humanoid. At least they can understand the fundamentals. And when the class 5 onwards, when they grow, we teach them the functionality of humanoid, we teach them functionality of insight into 3D printing, and everything is a very cost effective. The way we have designed the kit, like people, those who have designed 50,000, 60,000 rupees kit, we have actually gone ahead and developed our indigenous kit, which is at 1/20th of the cost. And that's the advantage where we have a complete full-time support of the students. When we have, when we talk about the advanced skill program, we talk about.
Sachin sir, I have a question. With the last two slides, you have used
Yeah,
teacher-led solutions, right?
yeah.
And online and offline support. Could you please elaborate a little bit on this, that how would you support the teachers, empowering teachers, especially in the Northeast, with the online and offline support? What is it that you will be offering us?
Okay. So when we talk about empowering the teacher, so our team goes at the location and train the teachers. And we have a learning management system where the teachers, where the students gets the login ID, password. If they have to go and do the extra material or take the extra curriculum or take the extra assessments on the platform. At the same time, where what we have understood that the the teachers training has to be very important. So our trainers physically travel to the school location, train the teachers, and support the every material with the lesson plan, with
So
the.
when you are using the word material, you mean you are supporting the system with the manual kits that children or teachers can use for teaching the concepts?
Yes. So we have a set of kit material, that is books, then the manual, the teacher manual, which tells about the session-wise curriculum which has to be done, the life skill activities which has to be done. In subsequent slides, I will also show you what kind of life skill activities that we actually go ahead and do some of the examples.
Now, I would just like a further more clarification that, let us say for grade 5, I
Mhm.
want to talk about certain skills, certain concepts to be taught. So what is the support material that you have got or you offer to the teacher or to the student in order to learn better?
So when we talk about the programs, we have, as I said, we have age-appropriate content. So class 1 to 4, we have a different content. Class 5 onwards, 5 to 8, we have a different content, and class
Okay,
9
that is
onwards.
okay. That means it
Yeah.
is a graded. That is
Yes.
okay. That is how.
And
What I mean is what I will get as a teacher in a kit, what I will get as a support system as a student. That's what is my question.
right. So each student gets the, when we talk about the abacus or Vedic maths or any STEM learning. So STEM learning, every school gets a complete kit where we send, like say for example, if we have a STEM zone, if we are building coding and robotics lab, so we set up a complete software in the school premise, in the school computer lab. We give 50 such full-fledged kits, drones to the school to set up the lab. We also do the interior of the lab. At the same time, each student gets the material. So we give a handbook to each of the student and the handbook for the teacher, so that whenever a student is performing any experiment, most of the time what we have seen is that whenever the experiential learning is done, the student then comes out of the class, comes out of that particular lab and forgets the thing.
So
But
probably
here,
which Miss Julie Suba is asking on the YouTube chat. So you can facilitate the availability of the resources to the schools. Is
yes,
that the point?
yes. So
So
we
your
get,
company would be able to support the learning process by providing the manual kits and the handbooks, supported one, to the teachers as a teaching aid. Is it
yes.
right?
At
So
the
that,
same,
because she's writing this question about the availability of resources, so you could address that problem of Northeast India, right?
at the same time, if the school doesn't have the resource to teach these particular concepts, we also provide a trained teacher which is there in the school for the full time, which
Okay,
takes
so
which
you
takes the
have a
burden
support
out of.
in terms of the manual kits, in terms of teachers manual, and in terms of teacher trainer support for some time till the school becomes capable of doing it on. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when we talk about the advanced skill program, we have seen when we went to UAE, when we went to UK, we understood that the students out there at the age of 13, 14 have started registering. They start registering their company, which is where the Indian students, even they have a huge, vast knowledge, they are not able to incorporate those financial learnings or the entrepreneur learning in in their regular studies, or even if they know that they can do certain things, they are not able to do. So what we have done as a company, we have found this gap and we have started empowering and teaching the students with the financial concept. What is money? How money is growing?
Sachin, there is one more question for you on the YouTube chat. That do you have anything that is app-based on mobile or something on the web-based system that the students and teachers can learn from?
Yes, so we have a full-fledged learning management system where the teachers and the students can log in, and each student will gets a unique login ID and password, and they can then, based on their subscription of the courses or the school subscription.
So all this needs
can,
a very high power bandwidth?
No, it doesn't require, because we are, it even runs in the 512 kbps line. So
Okay, great.
that
I'm
is
reading,
sufficient.
I'm addressing the questions from the YouTube chat actually. Okay, please go ahead.
Right. So with the bandwidth of 512 kbps, that will work. So that
Okay,
we
great.
have encoded in such a way that it occupies a less bandwidth.
Great. Continue, sir.
So when we talk about the entrepreneurship, we understood that especially from class 9 to 12, we empower them on the business case study. What is the business plan? We help them. In fact, we have also started something, a new concept where we are doing a seed funding for the students who want to start. Like we are providing 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees to a group of 4 students who come up with a good idea and they want now that idea to be converted into a business. So we, with the help of our management team, we also nurture them and give the seed funding and support them so that they should grow as a entrepreneur.
So I would sum up your point for the listeners all across on the YouTube that there is a financial support system from Wisemindz Ventures Limited in case there is a group that comes up with an entrepreneurship idea and its execution is an issue for them, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And
continue, sir.
Yeah, and the entire concept is based on gamified and activity-based learning, where macroeconomic concepts, uh, stock market, and which most of the students, even they graduate, they are not able to understand this concept, the banking process. So these are the things that we want to bring the students, especially from grade 6 onwards, where they can understand these basic concepts and start improving upon their financial knowledge. Because
okay, if there is a financial literacy course being offered by your company, how long it is and from which class onwards you are offering this?
So currently we are offering the course from class 6 onwards, and sooner we are going to start from class 1 to 5 as well. So class
But
1
how
to 5.
long is the course? What is the duration of the course if somebody from anywhere across Pan India, especially in Northeast, also wants to join it? What is the duration of the course?
Yeah, so the duration of the course is around 25 sessions. So each session of 1 hour. So 25 sessions. So primarily we take 2 to 3 sessions in a week. And
Okay.
so it runs down to close to 6 to 7 months.
Great.
And
Continue, sir.
so schools who want to implement that can run it across the year. So maybe, two sessions in a
So
week.
there is a flexibility of scheduling the program as per the child or as per the school, right?
Yes.
Great. Continue, sir.
So when we talk about the another important integrated solution, which is a communication builder. So we are not focusing on what is the grammar and things like that, because these are already taken care of in the school. What we are focusing here is on the LSRWT, which is the listening, speaking, reading, writing, and the biggest important point is thinking. Because what we have observed is that whenever we go into rural areas or very interiors, we have seen that students, have the knowledge, but they are not able to express in the right word. Now that is precisely why, because they think in their native language and then they start converting by word in English. And for a particular word, they don't find a replacement in English, and that's where their confidence start losing and they start stammering. And precisely that's where they stop communicating.
So what is the contribution of your organization there?
So we empower the student, we help them to think in the language that they want to speak. So English, Hindi, these are some of the languages.
Is this an activity-based approach or is there some app through which the child is learning?
So there is a software support, but it is on the activity side. The software tells you about the listening and the visual activities, whereas the entire concept is on the activities where on the left hand side you can see there are role plays, there are flashcards,
Right.
abstract thinking, listening skill builder. So listening will come through the software. The visual, like you see a video and then there are certain questions that will
Again, the
come from the software.
software runs on mobile or on the web-based system. What is exactly it is?
So this software can be installed and can work offline in the school premises itself. So you don't
Great.
need
So that is an offline system. So it can really go a long way in solving the issues, especially in the areas wherever there is a network issue. Great.
yes. Apart from that, we also give a manual worksheets manual to the students based on all these activities.
Great. Great. So another 5 minutes, I want you to run through the slides.
Yes. So as I was talking about, this is what how the gamified tech assessment is like. You can see there is a exercise on the video, there is a exercise on addition and subtraction. There is a life skill sequencing activity. So when we talk about coding, now we cannot teach algorithm because algorithm, coding, software, these are all software IT related words. Now, if you want to teach an algorithm, what is what is the meaning of algorithm to the younger student? So you talk about life sequencing. Okay, you want to make a cake. Okay, these are some of the steps in which you can make the cake. Okay, so take a bowl, then take a flour, then put water. So these are the sequential steps. Similarly, in software, when we talk about building the particular software, you need to have a goal. So goal setting is one life skill activity. Sequencing is one life skill activity. Okay, then you talk about rectifying the errors. In software, it is called as debugging. So, but you cannot introduce debugging just straightforward. So, like say for example, if your problem is not right, your solution is not right in mathematics, what do? You go back to the steps that you are, wherever you have made the mistake, you try to correct. That is nothing but debugging called in software. So, yeah, you want to say something?
Nee, I was just waiting and got to finish it fast. Next few slides.
Right. So so when I was talking about technology support, when we talk about focus northeast, so learning management, so live classes integration. So we have a live classes, so our teachers can take live classes from across India. Like our teachers are in Hyderabad, our teachers are in Delhi, Kolkata, our teachers are in Jabalpur, Nagpur, Ahmedabad, Delhi. So these are the places where the classes can be scheduled directly during online, and offline our teachers can physically travel, be stationed there. We try to recruit a local person trained as per our modules, so that we try to generate the employment in the local areas as well. So, and then the reinforcement of the concepts through online improvement and progress dashboard. So each student gets the dashboard 24/7. There is an availability of the course content on the LMS. Each solution has a full-time faculty, as I said, dedicated online, and when for regular classes, it can be stationed at the school. SME support. So we ensure that there are 5 visits at least during the year to a school by our SME, and how the audit of the classroom, audit of the teachers, and level-wise assessment is there. So that's how we have. Not only that, as I said, if the school has the teachers, we have the trainer program as well.
Great.
This is how, yeah.
Okay.
So this is how we have tried to help through various technology platforms, and our course are fully aligned with the national education policy. When you talk about the skill sets, we have mapped 25 such life skills across and age appropriate, as I was talking about. So this is all complete solution we have tried to build in, but the focus is going to be whether it's Vedic math or coding or robotics. The focus is going to be life skills. The focus is not going to be teaching them something different. When we talk about the age appropriate, we have mapped like pre-primary. These are the solutions that is going to be there in grade 1 to 4. This is the solution, and subsequently these are going to be the solutions. Not only that, for class 9 to 12, we have a complete artificial intelligence based psychometric testing and career counseling, and which has, like, we have an onboard child psychologist, we have a career psychologist who takes one-on-one session with the parent and the students. And this is where the entire solution is.
Great. I think there is something that people on YouTube are looking forward is, you can stop sharing the screen.
Yeah. People, those who want to rush or reach to us, they can always log on to wisemindz.com and contact.
Right. This is what probably they are wanting, looking forward to, that how can they reach out to you and your website towards the last point also. I will come back to you to share that stuff. So it is. Thank you so much. I'm sure your team can go back to the YouTube channel and then look for the questions and answers out there. Many of them are asking criteria, eligibility criteria and all that stuff. So it will be a pleasure for you to learn. Now I would like to invite Miss Amrita Rajpal. I'm founder of Learn and co-founder of the ABCD show, which I have seen on Facebook. She is the territory head of Mumbai at Early Childhood Association of India. And her experience, which I would really like to focus for the Northeast group, is that she has carries the expertise of using multiple intelligence as a tool to help students learn. And that she's done that course from Harvard Graduate School of Education, USA. And she specializes in understanding learning disabilities too. Again, she's a certified trainer from Arya Vidya Mandir Institute of Special Education. How she uses these fundamental issues in the early foundation years, probably that would be the forte of talk of Amrita Rajpal today. And even NEP 2020 focuses a lot on foundational literacy and numeracy skills, because the Pratham report, everybody knows, it's difficult for us to even understand that why children cannot read and write and understand. And then that is how the restructuring of the whole school program also has been done by NEP 2020. And there is a checkpoints at every level to ensure that we are going in the right direction. So warm welcome to Amrita ji once again today. And it's over to you to share your views to the system.
Thank you so much for inviting me on this platform. I'm really so happy to be over here and to share my knowledge with everyone. You know, today's topic is very relevant. The topic is technology and early childhood education. So when I'm looking at technology, technology is one part and early childhood education is another part. And we're looking at an amalgamation of both. But before I start, I also want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an early years specialist. I've been teaching for 22 years, maybe 23 now. You know, I've lost count, but I've been learning my whole life. So, you know, we never stop learning. So if you're an educator or you're the youth who's sitting in your chair over there, I want to tell you that it's never too late to learn and to upskill yourself. So
there's one word that I would like to add, which my professor says: lifelong learners.
Absolutely.
Retired, but not tired, because he's retired, but still going on with sharing of knowledge on various platforms. It's hats off to him, like Dr. Gulshan Sharma, who's also, I think, the eldest person on this platform today. Sorry, continue.
No, true. Absolutely what you said. Getting children to be lifelong learners. And now I'm going to be talking about child development in my whole, in the flow of my conversation right now. But before that, I want to tell you, my company, Learn Grow, makes quality curriculum for preschools. We also do teacher development. We also have an online program called Training in a Box. We also help schools with expansion plans. We help schools to set up. So we do all these things, but that doesn't take away how are we teaching our children. We really get to know, we really get to the root of it. So NEP has come in now after 34 years. And thankfully, there's been such a great change. Can I use this and start sharing my screen, please?
Please go ahead.
Yes. now that I'm talking out here, I want to tell you, we're talking so much about technology. Technology is not going to replace teachers, but teachers who use technology will replace the teachers who don't. So it's very important to use technology wisely. Also, we need to understand the development of the child so we know how to use technology with the development of the child. Now we're talking about the third wave of the pandemic. I don't think online classes, are going to go anywhere. We all have to use technology. But whether we teach online, we teach offline, how we teach children in the early years is very, very important. We've had this thing where India has followed a very formal education system. When children are 2 years old, they're put into a classroom. Those classrooms are overcrowded. I'm not talking about those elite schools which have, few children, but by and large, young children are overcrowded classrooms, and more than anything, we have assessments for them. Now, all these assessments are formal assessments. That has been done away with, which is really nice because assessment has been changed out here. We also have understood that the foundational years are really now from 3 to 8 instead of only for 3 years, but now it includes 5 years. So that's really, really nice. And our curriculum and our, framework, our pedagogy, everything is based on this. So in the 5 years, we have to focus on how children learn. And that is through play and through active discovery. So it's very important to note, that basically when you go to school, what is our focus on? Literacy and numeracy. What kind of subjects are these? These are left-brained subjects. Can everyone see me? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, your screen and yourself, everything is visible.
Oh, okay, very good. Okay, because I can't see anyone. So I was wondering if, you all have lost me.
Everything
also.
is there.
Oh, perfect, perfect. So I want to ask you, how do, we teach children math, we teach science, we teach literacy. All these are left brain subjects. We all know they require logical reasoning, they require critical thinking. But how does a child develop? The child develops with first the right brain and then the left brain. So let's see what is right brain and left brain. So the left brain is analytical, it's logical, it's detailed, it's numerical. Children like to think in words. The right brain is creative, it's free thinking, it's able to see the big picture, it's intuitive. Children like to visualize more than think in words. So these are right brain, left brain. What are we doing in the early years? We are teaching language, numbers, analytical thinking, all the left brain subjects. Rather, the right brain subjects, because the right brain is developing first. The left brain develops only when the child is 7 years old. So the first thing to teach the child is imagination, creativity, emotional intelligence, expression, just expressing yourself and being creative. So these are the things that children should be learning. Let's look at a child in preschool. If you're looking at a 3 or 4-year-old child, you're going to see that this child is a visual learner. This child is unstructured. He doesn't have any structure. You have to create the structure for him. He's totally impulsive. Abhi khelna hai, abhi ye karna hai. He gets distracted also very easily. They're usually very creative. When you see these children, they love to dabble in paint. They love music. They love drama. They love stories. They love all these things. And they love to learn from discussion, interaction, cooperation, involvement. If you see children, they get lost even when they're playing with puzzles or they're playing with something they like. They get lost for even hours sometimes. How much do these children use words? They basically think in pictures. They're visualizing and imagining. They have a very good sense of spatial orientation. You know, if you see these children, they can't write, but they can draw. But they don't have any sense of time. They are tuned to emotions. How many of us have seen 2, 3-year-olds throwing tantrums? We know that they have great emotions. You know, if you take a story and you tell a child, more than 5-10 minutes, the child doesn't have the patience to listen because the child prefers the main idea. So when you teach according to that. You don't put in all the details. I can go on about this because I used to make a lot of mistakes as a teacher initially. And I used to keep on with the whole detail. The flower was yellow, this was there. But then the child is so distracted that the child doesn't understand what you're actually getting at. They learn in spurts rather than a steady sequence. So there is no sequence in how they learn. You know, they're just learning and it doesn't come. They come to conclusions intuitively. So they don't really, think over कि मैं ये करूँगा तो फिर ये होगा and I will do this and then that will happen. But they just come to conclusions. They prefer visual, kinesthetic styles where they can move their bodies. Now look at a left-brain person. A left-brain person is someone who's basically, he likes structure. They focus on the details. When you tell them a story, they're paying full attention to the details. They love organization. They like logic. They need to understand why, how. They can express themselves well with words. They're fluent. They can memorize easily. You can give them sequences of actions and they can do it. They can work independently. They have a very strong sense of time. They're objective. Reading and writing come easily. Spellings come easily. Arithmetic comes easily to them. And if you give them instructions, they will listen. And they learn from an auditory teaching style. You talk and they will learn. Now, you know what happens? We call these young children late bloomers. But we've not understood their left brain has not developed. They've not developed all these things. They're not so fluent with their words, with their expressions, with organization, logic, with, analyzing things, working independently. They've not learned all this. Even they've not developed all this, not learned all this. They've not developed all this. So obviously they will be late bloomers because when they are right-brained till the age of 7 and the left brain starts working. So how should we teach children? I wish I could interact with you all and hear your answers. But I guess by now you have understood that we have to give them a lot of concrete experiences. We have to give them lots of music, lots of movement, lots of dance, lot of drama, lots of art, a lot of these running around activities.
Amrita ji, there is a question that Vimal Chauhan is asking on YouTube, that teaching is not about answering questions, but about raising questions.
Absolutely.
So how do you open doors for early childhood education in this concept?
So right now, we are not talking about language and literacy. We're just talking about the left brain and the right brain. But of course, I can answer your question if you're talking about what kind of questions to ask a child. I'd love to share by you.
It's not how do we ask, how about children? Because, in the early years, children have lots of questions. They keep on asking why this, why that. So how do you address that kind of area which comes from the child? And if it doesn't, how do you address the other way around? So both ways.
So, okay. So if a child is asking questions and you don't know the answers, it's perfectly all right to say, let's look up, because I don't know this answer, but it's a very interesting question. I've really not thought of why the sky is blue. If children ask you why the sky is blue or why is the sun yellow and you don't know, because our parents taught us and our teachers taught us the sky is blue and the sun was yellow and we never asked these questions. But today's children are asking these questions and we don't know all the answers. So it's perfectly all right to say that's such an interesting question. I never thought of it, but we can always look up and let's discover the answer together. Let's try to find out the answer together. So that is a way to take it forward. If you do know the question, you know something, there is something about discovery in a child. There's something about wonder in a child. So if I tell you everything and you have nothing to explore, is the class going to be interesting for you? Is anything going to be interesting for you? If you're just going to sit over here and hear me rat, tat, 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 go on telling you things. But if I give you an experience where you discover the answer for yourself, for example, I give you three, materials. Like I give you a scarf, and I give you a beanbag, and I give you a light ball. So they're three objects of varying weights. And I tell you to throw it up in the air. All right. Or I tell you to take the lightest one first and throw it up in the air. And the child sees it going up in the air, and you ask the child, what do you think? It's going to come down fast, or it's going to come down slow? Or is it going to stay up, or is it going to come down first? So if that thing is going to stay up, or it's everything is coming down, can we try with another thing and see, does everything fall down? So having that child discover, rather than you telling that child, let's throw this up and you see it's going to come down. But if a child is throwing multiple things of different weights, and of course, these are monitored activities. You cannot have him just throw everything. But with that monitored activity, you get the child to discover, and then you ask that question. Now you're not telling the answers, but the child is thinking. And what are we going to do? What are we really doing? What do we want the child to do? We want a thinking child, right? We want to build on cognition. We want the child to be full of wonder, curiosity, excitement, happiness, discovery. I think that is what we want for the child. That's what we're talking about all the time. 21st century learner, critical thinking, cognitive thinking. So I guess, did I answer your question? Is there something incomplete?
It's always a play area where you are offering opportunities for the child to explore and ask questions. After that, that's what probably I can conclude it for the people who are asking questions.
You have to offer opportunities. You have to ask open-minded questions where a child is supposed to think over there. You're supposed to get children to ask you questions. Keep an atmosphere open with yourself where, children feel free to ask you. 3 times a child comes and tells you, why is the sky blue? And you don't know, and just say, just listen to me. When I'm telling you it's blue, it's blue. Do you think the child is going to come back and ask any more questions? No, the child is not going to come back. So also create the atmosphere with yourself where a child is feeling free to ask. Oh, it's an interesting question. I never thought of this question. I think you're a really clever boy or girl that you have thought of something like this. So I think creating that atmosphere is very, very important.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to get back, but if you have any more questions, I'll be so happy to answer.
So continue, because I think we've got to be listening to you on your slides also.
You please tell me whatever you want. I'm more of a happy speaker when I'm just speaking on my own.
Perfectly.
Really. And I mean, like when people are asking me questions, it's much more interactive and more fun for me also. Yes.
Right.
So keeping this in mind, the NEP declared that, when children come to first standard, they have this transition period of 3 months. They don't have this continuous way of the way, we have a different way of teaching in preschool and a different way of teaching in first and second, which becomes primary. So now we've sort of clubbed the whole thing, and we are going to be using the same methods to teach first and second. And the transition is going to be really slow, and also using that it's inquiry based. Just like what I was speaking was the language of inquiry, creating inquiry based learning, allowing children to speak and ask questions, and you asking the right kind of questions. Also making it play based, having children just have fun with, playing with materials and objects and everything. And activity-based learning. So we're going to also look at a lot of activities in it, and it's going to become totally experiential. Your learning has to be an experience. Your learning cannot be theoretical, and it cannot be from, a thing from top to down. For me, just speaking to you and you, taking in all this knowledge. It doesn't work like that for anybody. So I'm also getting you into, the stages of cognitive development. So there was this theorist called Piaget. I'm sure a lot of you, if you all are educators here, you all would have heard of him. And he said that children go through 4 stages. So the first stage is sensory motor stage from birth to 2 years. Then it's the pre-operational stage from 2 years to 7 years. Concrete operational stage from 7 to 11, and formal operations is now you're totally on your own. So what happens when a child is from birth to 2 years? I want you to understand very clearly what is happening to that child over there. That child over there actually learns only through his senses, So that's why it's called sensory motor. Sensory motor means using your senses and moving about, your motor skills. So your fine motor skills and your gross motor skills, your big and your small skills to move around. Now the child only learns through that. Just imagine a small child who's about 1 or 2 years. What is he doing? He's picking up things, he's smelling things, he's putting everything in his mouth to taste, to see how it is. He wants to hear, he wants to see. You cannot just have that child, imagine things on his own, because he's still exploring the world. So you need to give that child so many experiences. Now in an online classroom, you will still have to give in all these experiences, because that child is not going to be able to learn unless that child experiences life, because this is the only way the child learns, through their senses and through moving about or movement. The next stage is the pre-operational stage. Now, if you see our 3 to 8 is basically our foundational years. So we are basically now in the pre-operational stage. What is happening at this time? A child is thinking symbolically. He's using words, he's using pictures to represent objects. He gets better with his language, he gets better with his thinking. But even now, he's just thinking in very concrete terms. He cannot think totally symbolically, and it's not developed in abstract. He also cannot take in too much logic. He cannot understand other people's point of view. He doesn't understand constancy. Now, this is a very, very important thing to understand. So if I take 2, atta balls, and I take the atta balls, and they're exactly the same size, and I flatten one, and I show the child, because that one is flat and it looks bigger, he will say this is bigger. But both of them have the same amount of atta. He has seen the whole process, but he will still not understand it. So can you imagine, now when you're teaching children online, you have to still give them these experiences and make them understand, so that you're using tech, being the facilitator, but you are going to be sitting over there and giving them experiential, learning happening, because it cannot be just a top-down approach, as I spoke. Oh, yeah. And they're not prepared for it. Now, when you're still looking at that child and he's growing up, he still needs all these experiences, the concrete, he needs to touch, see, smell, manipulate, taste, and that's the best way for him to learn. And when I'm looking at the concrete operational stage, of course, his language has built up. He's now getting more logical, but it's only 1 year out here into the stage. So basically, we're looking at having a child with a lot of experience, discovery, as you put it, and getting a child involved and engaged in the learning, getting a child excited about the learning. When we're looking at foundational literacy, I am not going to be doing numeracy now because I don't think we have so much time, but I have a lot of modules on all this if anyone is interested.
Ma'am, after this slide, I'll just read out few questions that are there so that we can address them in this. However, just complete that, right?
No, I can take the questions also. And
we'll have to stop sharing and then we can take the
questions. Surely, tell me.
Perfectly fine. There is one of the questions from non-live from Northeast is emotional distress has been too much that has been affecting children psychologically. So how do you address this problem, particularly for the younger children?
Emotional distress is because of what? Children are sitting at home, so they're distressed. Are they distressed because parents are bickering with each other? Are they distressed because you are distressed? You have to figure out why a child is distressed. You know, there are multiple reasons for distress. And all of us also are in distress. No, many
So
of
I
us
would
are
just
not
like
able
you
to
to give us 1, 2, 3, 4 tips.
yeah.
That
So
how we
I'm
can
just going
address
to
that.
give you examples, but for you first, you need to know why your child is
Okay.
distressed.
So
So if
finding the
your
root
child
cause is
is
definitely
distressed
important.
because of you always cribbing and talking that, oh my God, I can't go out, it's so bad, it's corona's happening and the pandemic is going on, and if you are talking and you are creating distress in your house and creating that atmosphere of distress, your child is surely distressed. Also, if you are looking at new ways of enjoying, another thing is, children have lost structure over here. At this whole point, if you see, people used to get up at a particular time, they used to go get ready, they used to go out to school, they had to come back, there was play, there was eating time, there was a proper routine to follow. You go out to play with your friends. Now that routine is totally lost. Child is not gone to school for 1 year. And everyone's routines have gone haywire. Your father's sitting at home. Your parents are sitting at home. You're not used to seeing all this. In that space, I would tell you, please create a routine. Create a routine for yourself and your child. Because if a child has a routine that he has to get up at a particular time, your child has to get ready, sit with his proper clothes. Children go to school, online classes, and they've just gotten up from their sleep and put in that chair. Now, if you get up from your sleep and you are just put in a chair, how are you oriented? Right?
So that brings me, Amrita ji, to
That
another
gives me
question
stress.
connected to this, that when the children are straight away put from the bed to the chair to be on the online classes. So the next question from Happy Cambridge School is, how much technology exposure is too much for the child, considering online exposure and health issues? So just tips 1, 2, 3, 4, what can help them out?
Totally. 2 hours a day is the ideal time for a foundational years child. After 20 minutes, you need to have a gap. Now, I'm going to give you my own example. I've been at home, of course, for a year, more than a year. My number of my eyes has gone up by 1. 1 whole power has gone up in this 1.5 years because I am so much online. And now I'm doing eye exercises.
So you suggest 2 hours of time maximum. That
I am suggesting 2 hours of time in the whole day, spread out, and 20-hour slots. After that, they need at least 5-minute break of not seeing the screen. Minimum.
Okay, there is one more question because I have to address all the questions.
Please.
It is to both of you, Sachin ji, and I think I'll ask Sachin ji too, because they're asking that, how do you, this is info students, whichever group is that, you have to suggest activities, well thought and organized without any disruptions for the remote rural technologies, technology deprived areas of Northeast. What do you do there, where there is no technology, where there is no accessibility to the child? So what kind of academic activities and something that your system can organize? So first is to Sachin ji.
So as I said, when we give the material and the kit to each student, the kit and the material has the activities which can be taken at the home. At the same time, when the teacher is taking online, the same activities can be taken through the technology support.
So you mean your company can provide the manual kits to the children for hands-on activities if there is a technology issue in the rural areas, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anything else Amrita ji would like to add on?
I have a program called Training in a Box. Now, it's very, very difficult for people to go physically anywhere to especially at this time. But another point is, even without the pandemic, for me to travel to the Northeast to do a session is not cost effective for a rural area because they will have to pay my tickets, they will have to pay. Another thing is, you get an expert trainer and a specialist, and that person comes in for 1 day and your teacher is not there on that day. And what do? They lost out on the program. So schools can buy this program where I have given a whole logical explanation. It's a teacher training program for say phonics or for literacy. So you learn, you do those activities there, and you can
So you mean
create
teachers could be trained first, empowered with the program, the same way with the manual kits from Wisemindz Private Limited. They can give you kits, you can train the empowered teachers in another way for early child education. And both of you together could really pitch in where there is a problem of technology or bandwidth for the network issues.
You have to learn from my program the whole steps of how to teach the child, and you can create your own activities.
So we would like to have a question on this, that how long is the program and what is the program like? Like how can they find out the details of that program in order to really...
Please, yeah, I'm giving you my phone number over here. I'm also giving you my email address. So please write to me and I'll tell you all the details. But let me
putting up your website link?
Can I share my screen and you all can take a snapshot right now? Can you all see?
Yeah.
Please go to my YouTube link.
Great.
And see the activities over there also.
Perfectly fine. Thank you so much. Sachin ji, would you like to do the same? Would you like to share the screen or talk something about your company's page? Can you show that company's page for everybody's reference?
So it's very simple. It is wisemindz.com. You can WISEMINDZ.com.
Please, children, I think all listeners, audience, be careful about the spellings, because that is also Learn with double R and Wisemindz with Z.
Yes.
So that you end up at the right place. Okay, you can be looking at their Facebook page as well as their LinkedIn pages in order to find out more and more. I'm sure the topics are burning topics for the current times. There will be many questions. However, I would really request Dr. Gulshan Sharma, if he's there, to be with us and then conclude the show. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to invite these speakers and put something for the learners and the audience who have logged into the YouTube.
Pleasure listening the Golden Triangle under the dynamic and dedicated leadership of Veena Raizadaji. It was wonderful, wonderful inputs. And before she says, now Dr. Sharma has started, he won't finish. So I'm not going to talk anything. I just wish to have two things quickly. We are not expecting that you should travel to Northeast physically. We do not want anybody to travel economically, feasibly. We don't want that. We just need the solutions wherever you are. If you're in Mumbai, your bandwidth is quite good. Your seamless connectivity is available. We would like to have a program for teachers, not for the youth. We would be more keen about, because I think particularly the new education policy, it's fine. It was to come. Man doesn't want to change unless the circumstances compel drastically. We wouldn't have brought these changes digital mode at all. We were very happy with the industrial era approach, whatever was going on. New education policy also must have not been pushed in the thick of the pandemic had the corona not come. So good thing is, we are very happy. Education is becoming transparent. It's becoming accountable. People have started realizing the role of the trainers, mentors, educators, counselors, everybody now, like you have the doctors, nurses, and paramedical. Similar way, these are also the doctors, because parents are having a wonderful time now. Earlier, they were depositing their children in the morning at 8 o'clock and taking as a ATM in the evening at 6 o'clock. So now that time has gone. So I personally feel, do you have anything to offer very specifically, train the trainers or for teachers? And we are not looking forward to for kindergarten or small kiddies and all that. We are looking forward maybe certain trades or certain skills or certain competencies or certain capabilities to be developed in the teachers across the board, irrespective of whosoever they are. Is there any solution with both the organization?
Sure. I think my company has, as I said, this training in a box, which of course is now, and it's online, but of course I can just take out those recordings and put them into a pen drive and they can go and they can see it over there. And it comes with materials that they can use. And also it's an empowering program where teachers learn, like I was speaking, what stage the children are at and what they need to do. And teachers can figure out even more activities. So if I've given 10, they can figure out another 10 or 20 on their own, because now they know what they're supposed to do. The point is, I want to teach them to fish rather than only being fed fish.
So in our organization, when we talk about, as I was talking about, train the teachers, we train the teachers across India as well as out of India, now online. And whenever opportunity will be there, we'll be training offline as well. So we teach them the magic of mathematics, how they can apply the fundamental calculation, build up their speed and accuracy, how you can actually improve handwriting through mathematics. That is one of the fundamentals that we have derived out of the mathematics, how you can improve listening skills through mathematics. So these are some of the techniques that we will be training the teachers so that they can then further empower their students.
Okay. Thank you very much. Very kind of you, both of you. And Amrita ma'am used some beautiful words like music, drama, stories, discussions, dancing, art, excitement, discovery, creating atmosphere, involvement, and then of course 2 buzzwords from our side: fun and stimulation in education is very important. And I don't know in what context Veena ji used, but I don't know, was it in my context or somebody else, that people are retired, tired and nearly expired. I don't know.
No,
She used
retired but not tired. They are
okay.
lifelong learners.
Okay. I thought
they
tired.
continue learning even now.
Okay. Otherwise, in Chandigarh, people in India, they call most of the people are retired, tired, and nearly expired. You know, that is
my professor is using lifelong learners, retired but not tired.
That's
so
on the lighter side.
They are not tired of learning and sharing the experiences of their professional and personal journey back to the society, so that whatever they had learned or whatever mistakes they had made, at least the coming generations can learn from that.
Veena ji, that is on the lighter side. As the elder brother, you have become serious.
No, I thought probably it will remain on the record, so I must clarify myself.
Not at all. Not at all.
So it will be forever there.
Then what?
I must clarify my point out there.
See, as a good teacher, if we are conscious about it, in the sense that education should be fun, education should be stimulation, education should not be for examination. और मैं तो उसको graveyard में ढूंढ रहा हूँ अभी, जिसने examination system introduce किया. In India, you have got 112 exams up to 12th class, wherein in Finland, you have got only 3 exams. Why exams? Well, thank you very much. Deep gratitudes, and look forward to meeting all of you yet on the another platform. And Amrita ji, your YouTube, and Sachin ji, your YouTube, your organizations are with the names of individuals or organization names?
Organization.
I've given my link on that thing. Okay. If you want, I can surely send it again.
No, it is on the Zoom recording, so
it's there. People will be able to see. Veena ji wants to close it timely. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, everybody. It was wonderful. Good questions.
Thank you so much, because there have been last few 2 lines from that especially talk about empowering education in Northeast. So I really want to share through this platform for the Northeast people that we as teachers, trainers are there, we as educationists who I've been in education since 1977. So whatever my experience in the last 1 decade has been totally into technology, into education, with Next Education India Private Limited, where Sachin also worked with me. So whether you talk of technology integration into India education, whether you talk about offline education, or whether you talk of empowering teachers, or whether you talk about various concepts related to NEP 2020, we are all there to support them. The only question is we have to have those online opportunities, connectivities. So you can always connect with us via Dr. Gulshan Sharma's platform or on the LinkedIn platform, where I am there as the name of Veena Raizada. My professional page is also on the Facebook, Veena Raizada. Wisemindz is there. ABCD show is there. So it's an effort where everybody has to make. If I want to learn something, I have to make some efforts on my own also to reach those points. I'm sharing all those links that everybody today is on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. So go to those platforms, go to those websites, put in your queries there. We are all there to support you, empower you, enhance you. We stand there with you as one unit to bring Northeast also with whatever gaps they have, to bridge those gaps and be the part of our hearts and souls.
Lakshmi is very happy with Veena Raizada's inputs. Thank you. The eight states is called Lakshmi. That's why I just mentioned about it.
I know that because
Thank you.
Earlier they were 7 sisters. Now they are called as 8 ones.
Lakshmi. Thank you. Thank you very much.